Hey guys, this is Turok, and today's video I'm going to be reviewing One Piece 1158. Uh, Also, as you can see, I'm going to be trying to present the stuff differently today. It's been taking way too long to do the other presentation. I don't even know if anyone's really my views on these videos are really low at this point, so I don't even know if anyone's realized it yet. For a few months now, I've been trying to add the imaging from the story into here, and but this time I'm going to do it live as and I got it on my screen, as you can see. So let's get into this. So in the last chapter, we're still continuing the I'm gonna take this off of it. We're still continuing the come on the story of the backstory that's involving mostly the rocks at this point. We're not even seeing Harold as much anymore. I forget even how long ago we started this one. Where did we go? Like, this is like 5 or 6 chapters now. And wait, what's this one at? That was 56. Where are we at? And we've been really getting into the rocks now as an offshoot of from Harold, mostly because of his relationship to Harold. And I'm really enjoying this now. And a lot of other stuff is revealed here today. And it's see, here was that one. Let's see, where would that start at? Whoa, so we're over 6 chapters now into this flashback. I would have started at the end of 1152. Now we're in 1158. So yeah, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 6+ chapters now of this and the backstory. And now we're getting into finally getting to what, like I said, the first what was it? The first 3, 4 chapters really focused on it, but now we did good golly, this chapter only has Harold in there briefly. So at the end of last chapter, let's go into it like there. We started learning more about other relationships of characters from back then that besides Rocks. We started by after seeing Harold and the stuff that happened with him and Loki's upbringing. We went to Rocks and seeing how he gathered together Whitebeard and Wang Ji and all the others there. And then we saw he consistently was trying to recruit Harold into his crew. And actually, I find something that Harold says here contradictory. I'll get to that later. So he kept trying to get Harold in, and I find, because he's trying to say, oh, you shouldn't join the government, you can't trust them. But at the same time, why should I join you? At the very least, I would say that Rock should be happy that Harold was staying, if he had stayed, say, neutral in this conflict. And eventually, if Rocks went up there and won and kicked out Emu, I doubt he could. I don't think he's cocky and confident, but he's at the same time, he doesn't know enough about Emu as far as we can tell. I had a theory a long time ago that maybe he did. I was only right, and the only thing I really was writing on it, as far as we know now, is that he went up there and met Emu. He kind of pieced together, wait a minute, there's probably a singular sovereign leader at the very top controlling the strings. He was clever in that way. And hold on a second. So he was very clever in figuring out about that stuff, but now I'm thinking, what if he had gone up there and won? I'm trying to think, what would Harold have done then? He probably would stay as nice to Rocks as he has been. He's been letting Rocks come over and visit, and they talk together at Ito's bar. But he still is refusing to join. And then if Rocks won, he'd be like, okay, well, I'm glad you took down Celestial Dragons. I mean, I'm not going to really help you. But Rox has just really been upset. Oh, why don't you join me? We can change the world. Like, dude, the way you're really changing the world isn't like Rox is kind of fight fire with fire. Like he's a very interesting character because he sometimes seems very much like Luffy. Like he won't give up trying to recruit Rox, and then at the same time he's like, willing to do anything to win. And he harmed Loki. That right there was bad. Like, oh, I'll harm a kid to make Harold come back. Like, he's a kind of an asshole at points. I don't know. In a way, I think his son Blackbeard now is even worse. He's definitely like very. I don't know. It's interesting. That'll be a good breakdown someday. The more once we know more about Blackbeard, to like kind of piece down his similarities and differences with his father now. And anyways, well, so in the last chapter too, we start getting more stuff about was that the last chapter? The last few chapters, I guess. We started seeing how Rocks gathered the other people like Big Mom and then we started seeing too how we saw how Gloriosa and Shaka pieced into the story, where Shaka, well, we got the title card way back, but Shaka's now Shaka was underneath Gloriosa as the first mate, but Gloriosa was smitten with Roger and then eventually left. But she decided to join the. We never saw for sure if she joined herself. I've been having this question before about whether or not she joined the Rocks Pirates of her own, or whether or not she could have lost the Davy back fight. We don't get clarification on some of this stuff. I still feel like Big Mom too, in particular, and also we saw it was, I think it was Silver Axe, decided to join on their own, and also maybe Stussy did. So there was some of these characters just joined themselves, and just for their own, furthering their own stuff. Like Big Mom here, we don't, as far as we know, she hasn't set up Totland as her home base, but she, of course, already has several kids. I forget how many she'll have by the end here. I know that guy named Mont Black. What was his name? He was the one that looks like Beetlejuice. He's the one who was born right around the time of God Valley happened. So she's setting up kids. We even saw Peril, Sparrow, and Katakuri. So anyways, a lot of these people here are just furthering their own ends. Whereas it does look like Whitebeard and some others were unfortunately forced into there, didn't want anything to do with it. And you can see he's kind of miserable all the time. And that's probably also why Stussy's staying, because she's trying to get with. We have that happen both ways. I didn't just thought that. We have Stussy trying to get with Whitebeard, and Gloriosa trying to get with Roger, and neither one wants anything to do with that. That's the thing too. We got Shaka now. We got Shaka's being pursued by Roger, but she likes now she's become smitten with Rayleigh. And at the last chapter was where Shaka decided to. She was in charge of the Kuja pirates for a while there. And then she decided to leave too. So now at this point, what's her name? Shoot, now I forgot her name. Where is she? Oh, Tritama. Yeah, Tritama is the one in charge at this point, and we know she stays. So she does stay in charge of the Amazon pirates the Kuja pirates for a long time. She died 13 years ago. So, and this is she was put in charge about 40 years ago. So she spends about like 27 years being the ruler of the Amazon Lily and the Kuja pirates. So anyways, and then the last thing interesting here now is we're still seeing Harald. We're still getting Harald here and there. We're seeing how he's still trying to work with the world government. And at the very end, we also saw that the Goros gave him an ultimatum to help him, like to say, okay, well, think about working with you, but you have to kill Rocks. So that's what we're gonna get. Well, only that part actually doesn't even take as much screen time in here as the other stuff we're gonna see. So there's a cover story that shows more stuff about the where Yamato is going and visiting the some other shrines of deceased warriors. This chapter starts out fine. We go to the Rocks Pirates. We go to the Roger Pirates shortly after Shaka has set up a bar in Fullaled, and now the news must have got to them probably through the papers. And Roger's kind of just moping and smoldering right there. This just shot. Actually, now I can put this up. This shot here is amazing. Here, moping here, and the other people, his other crew members, are actually celebrating. They're like, "Wait, well, this is actually a good thing when you think about it, Captain. We thought she was gonna be never gonna see her again because she's on Amazon Lily, and she doesn't let." They don't allow men there. So now that she's at someplace else that's not part of the jurisdiction of Amazon Lily, we can go see her again. And it just isn't working for Roger. He just really wants her to like him. This is funny how this little love triangle is going on with him and Gloriosa. The way he's just like, come on, see me who I am for I am. So I wonder if he ever meets anyone else in the meantime until he meets Ace's mother. What's her name? I can't think of her name now. My apologies. So anyway, while this is happening, we go to Rayleigh and Gabon here, and Gabon's like, well, actually, yes, what happened, because Roger's not just upset about that. Rayleigh here told him about Shaka being interested in him, and so he went and did it in private, as you see here, and Gabon comes up to Rayleigh. This is after the beginning part was after. He's like, "Hey, I saw you guys were talking together in there. What was this all about?" And what he basically did here was like, "Well, you're my friend, Roger, so I have to tell you, um, uh, I have to tell you that she sent me this note, basically like a love letter, and I just wanted to let you know that she's interested in me, but I'm not going to be pursuing her. I just want this to be open between us because we're pals." And Roger just got venting at him like, "Oh, I was just worried about her when she left, that maybe she got that love sickness thing we heard about. But this is what it was all about." And he kind of just venting at him like, "I'm mad, like, God damn it." So he goes on and on here saying like, she should be going after me, and why should it have to be you? And it just is like, it's just so funny to see this side of Roger. I like this a lot though. I don't think, because Oda is so careful about doing romantic stuff with the main cast, the Straw Hats themselves. So to have this love triangle type stuff happening with other characters in his story is a breath of fresh air. You know, of course, we've had other things like Psy and Baby 5 getting together and getting married. But I like having this pursuit part where there's romance budding here between different people, and there's like some people not who are interested in each other and all that kind of stuff like that. And but so for Roger here, we go back to the present point here where Roger's moping, and he's like finally sits around like, "Wait a minute, all right guys, I'm not admitting defeat. Let's go visit Shaka. Let's see this new bar of hers and everything. Let's go and take her," someone says. Who says that? Let's just go and take her. I don't think Roger definitely isn't going to go that far. I think he's still just hoping that if he spends enough time around Shaka, that maybe she'll see him as a viable partner and, you know, start dating him and stuff like that. So he plans on going to the Rocks, Full Out Island. And this is going to be funny because we see that him and Rocks have clashed before. And this is actually interesting because I kept wondering how interesting it was that Roger's crew Rocks never seemed to decide never to pursue Roger's crew and try to, like, say, get Rayleigh or Gabon on his side. He seemed to think he had enough people already with the members, the people he got, Big Mom, Whitebeard, Kaido, etc. Okay, so now we switch here, right, to a brief interlude here where we get to see St. Garling. And this is the one part I can't figure out here. Also, I want to clarify by saying that I always do this review without watching anyone else's stuff. So I'm bringing this up because I feel like this and something else with this stuff that they bring up later, I feel like there's something here that should have been apparent to me and I'm missing. And I'm going to go, as soon as I'm done recording this, I can't wait to go see Tekking 101's review. Him and some others do the reviews when the raw version, like leaked version, come out. I always wait until the official one here is out because I want to also contrast it. Actually, I got to bring that up with the unofficial version. If there's any differences, I prefer. There sometimes is. Sometimes the raw versions have some better stuff in there than the way I think the communication of what someone's saying. Like, I liked, for example, back when Jinbei and the others were caught, and then they saw Scopper Gabon, he had said something like, "Oh, that's Scopper Gabon. I heard he was on equal footing with Rayleigh." So, and they didn't say it that way in the official one. So Garland here is reporting to the Gorosei 40 years ago. So actually, where is that? 39? Was this 39 years ago? I know at one point they say it's 39. Anyways, this is 2 years before God Valley, and he comes up to him and they're talking about how they just had one of those tournaments where they go to these unaffiliated islands and the Celestial Dragons make sport of hunting the citizens, and as we saw Kuma and that, they include lots of slaves. So he's come there to he says he was out at sea on a mission, and he went to God Valley essentially, and then he says, "I found this unique island, and at first I offered to see if they would ever want to be part of the Gord government." And but he points out, "Well, I was unable to secure an agreement, but this island is extremely rich in resources, so we should not let this pass up." And this is the mysterious part. But then he says, I made a discovery that even I never expected to make. And then he points out, I'm sure this would even interest Emu. So, and therefore, I strongly recommend we put God Valley on the next competition. And so something's going to come up here later, too. I'm confused because we're going to see Shanks and Shamrock in a little bit. So they're already been born. They're going to be born. Is that right? Shamrock? Shanks? Yeah, they're going to be he's about 4. They're both about 41 now. And this is something else I'm confused. I thought Garling was their father. We've been implied that. But at the end, does that mean he stayed there? Oh, maybe it's just simple that. I don't know, because it implies if initially that he stayed there and he stayed with this woman who we're going to see. We don't see her face at the end, unfortunately. We see her and she's we see Shanks and Shamrock with their mother, and she's taking them around town, a town there in God's Valley. But I'm trying to figure out what this. First I was thinking he meant them as some kind of prize, because we had a thing later where Roger found Shanks in a treasure chest while he was there at God Valley. But this is like confusing. I'm trying to think, is it a devil fruit? Like if it was just a devil fruit that he thought would be worthy of something, maybe I thought he would have just taken it. But I guess if it is that, maybe he wants to have everyone fight for it first. Because we can see here that St. Garling is very competitive. So I'm thinking he found something interesting. Maybe he found a person having the devil fruit. So this is the first thing I'm going to be checking when I watch other people's review. I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing here, what that could be. Who could be there, what could be there that would make Garling say, hey, Emu would even think this is a great idea. Anyways, we go back to the pirates now. Now we're at Shakky's bar in the Fullalad Island. And so we see how the popularity of her thing is still going crazy. She's got all these men trying to wait to go in there. And Shaka, though, I love how she doesn't take any shit. So this one pirate here is like, oh, I came all the way here from the east to North Blue. Hey, you got a great whiskey. And everyone says you have tremendous cooking skills as well. And she's like, oh, that's just so sweet. But then she also like, but I'm not cooking for you, asshole. And the other guys are just like, they just don't care. And it's just it's so fun to see how, it's funny in a not like a way like, to see how they're not letting that bother them, but at the same time, like, come on, guys, if you're really looking for someone, you're wasting your time. And then so another cook is coming out. Like, so it looks like she has another cook working. The way that pirates here is saying that implies that they also cook. She'll do some of the cooking if she thinks it's a worthwhile customer. Maybe at this point though, we know she's interested in Rayleigh. So maybe she's not going to cook for anyone else anymore, even if it's like maybe someone who's a good guy to cook for, like Whitebeard. But I'm thinking she doesn't. I think at this point she wants to only cook for Rayleigh at this point. I like this part too. You can tell she's doing like this rip-off bar thing. So I think they show these other pirates here, but I think she probably was talking to her cook behind the scenes, because he's like, it shows him there, but I'm thinking he probably was more like, hey, we're out of the good whiskey. And she's like, okay, whatever, just getting out some of the rum, the cheap rum, and then I think this must be, she goes up to him, hey, here's your whiskey, guys. And it's like, but at the point too, they're not even going to care either. Just as they don't care she's insulting them, they're probably just thinking, well, whatever, we got to sit here in the bask in the radiance of Shaka, so we don't care if we have to take only this cheap rum. And, so now we get to the next scene. We see Rocks is hanging out there again. We also got those Big Mom and Wang Zi there. And so I actually had to reread this part a few times. I missed this. But we see that Rocks here is very happy there. And then even Shaka comes up to him and she's like, oh, well, Rocks, why are you so happy? And so, yeah, Rocks was initially like after her, too. He was like fawning over her like the others. But then she's like, oh, if I didn't know better, I would think you've lost interest in me. And it kind of looks like Rocks did. I mean, I'm sure if she offered himself to her, he'd probably, being the kind of douchey guy and the character he is, he'd go hang out with her, intimately. But it looked like he found someone else in the meantime. And then the next scene there, you see Big Mom's like, I knew it. I was thinking the same thing. A woman's intuition can be scary. And, Stussy and Whitebeard are there as well, right? And Rocks is like, shut up. I don't want everyone to know about this right now. Maybe because he's worried about someone getting harmed. And you see, like, and then Whitebeard's like, what are you talking about? And Stu, she's like, what? How are you so dense? It's not just a woman, it's the face of a new father. I was rereading this yesterday. I read the Raw one on Friday, and then I had to think about yesterday. Today's Sunday. I'm reading this on Monday now. I forgot. So this is right at the time now where Whitebeard. I keep saying Whitebeard when I mean Blackbeard. Blackbeard has just been born now, and I wish they'd show the mother. This is another thing. Oda's doing this again. We're gonna see Shanks and Shamrock later, and we only see partially their mom. And he does the same thing here. Oda is not good at giving us the mothers of some characters. And so we don't know who Blackbeard's mother is. All we would know then is his last name is Marshall, right? Marshall D. Teach. So Teach is his first name, right? Right. Is that the right way? So Marshall would be his last name. So he took his mother's name. I don't know why he never takes his father's name, though. Maybe he was doing that purposely. I bet, actually, part of me was wondering if maybe he did that to avoid Whitebeard and Big Mom and Kaido later realizing who he is. Because that's something else that's been bugging me now. Now we have Blackbeard, and up until recently, we had Big Mom Kaido as Yonko. And I'm just like, it's so weird to realize that Blackbeard is Rocks' son, who was the captain of the other Yonko previously. Except for Shanks, of course. I mean the other three, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido. So he has a kid here. We don't know if it's here either, though. Maybe he met her somewhere else. I'm thinking not, because we'll have to find out later. Maybe we'll get a little bit more on that later to figure out where Blackbeard ends up after this. The earliest thing we saw about Blackbeard before now knowing he's been born just now is when Whitebeard meets him years later, before they doing Owen's full flashback, and I think at that point Blackbeard's about 13 years old, That was like, I think Odin's flashback started 28 years ago or so, or when he left at least. So now Roger bursts in with his crew, and you see him and Gabbana, and oh, Shakky, we're here! Praise, your day is better now. And then other people are like, oh my gosh, the Roger Pirates. And even Shaka's like, oh, Roger. So she plays it up. But then, she's looking for Rayleigh, though. But this is where we got the thing that we saw that Rocks and Roger have been at each other. The thing is, though, it's funny to see how good Roger stands up to him. Because, Rocks is what? He's got to be 12 years older than Roger. Actually, I should look that up. Hold on. So, roughly speaking, if I'm doing the math right, Roger at this point should be about 31 years old. But we don't actually have an age on Zebek Rock, so I don't know how much older. He looks like he's several years older at least. So I like that. It's just, it's not often these kind of stories you see a younger character be so, assertively not able to cow down. I appreciate seeing it. It shows how Roger's confidence at this point is good. It's, I don't know, it's just funny because you get a lot of these anime and manga where you got the younger characters who are very strong, but they're not always that confident until later on. It's a breath of fresh air to see something like this with Roger, because he's been a pirate. Must have been a pirate 4 or 5 years at least now, and it's the thing too. It's different because with the Straw Hats, they've only been working together as a crew for over 2 years now, and they're making headways. And Luffy's already considered a top Yonko. But it's nice to see where a more natural flow where we got these characters who are at sea for many years at a time and build up a name and then still going around. Not really they're not it's more like a, there's a lot of players at once here. I like seeing all these different strong characters at once running around. It's not like this is something let me just use a history example. One of the reasons one period of history I like a lot is during the high point of classical Greece. And it's not just because of Greece itself. It's just that at that time, there were still so many other powers in the Mediterranean. It wasn't under the control of Rome yet. When you get into the Roman period, there's a lot of interesting stuff with Rome's fall and republic. But by that point, they've conquered everyone else in the Mediterranean area, and they rule all of it. But back 300 to 400 years earlier, you had the Carthaginians controlling North Africa. You still got Persia controlling where Turkey and the Middle East, that west area there. And you got Greece, which is all the city-states. see all these different people at once. There, no one's under one complete rule in that area. Anyways, of course, Persia controlled most of the Middle East. So I like seeing this kind of stuff here, where there's all these big pirates running around, and none of them have. They're still like, I mean, Roger Rocks now is the closest thing to an empire thing, where he's got all like 4 big heavy hitters at once there, or even more with the other Wang Ji and everyone else. So, anyways, yeah, they get up. We see Roger and Rocks get up to in each other in his face. Rocks actually looks like he initiates this. Like, how many times to tell you this is my island? And Roger's like, well, this is Shaka's bar, and you know the rules she put down. No fighting between customers. So quit yapping, you porcupine. So I like that because it also shows that Rocks, even though he controls this island, he respects Shaka's rules. Mostly because he probably likes her, but it's like maybe she's paying him some like a tax, so to speak, to keep him quiet to help. But I'm sure she's rolling in dough right now with all these people coming in. And Rox then is like, fine. But wait a minute, how'd you get in here? There was a huge line outside. And then you see, I love this shot. Let me get up into this one. So Roger and his crew came in and they just beat up all the other guys there. And it's like no one else, all just like, just so they could get through the line. And so they're all squabbling with each other. And then Whitebeard's like, oh, fuck this shit. Roger's here now too. I'm getting out of here. And I like that. He's like, so he actually looks like he's wobbling a bit. I think he must be a little, I think that's supposed to entail that he's, you can see there the way he's wavering around. It looks like he's probably very woozy from he's probably drinking too much, and so he's like, put on tab. I'm out of here. Put it on Rox's tab. I must be Shaka probably did it. I was asking. So here we go. Shakky's like, oh well, Roger, where's Rayleigh? And so Roger just say anything. He's looking, hoping she'll pay attention to him, and he starts like, well, maybe if I talk to her, So Rayleigh made an excuse and said, no, I'm not gonna come here. I'm not going there. I don't want to be in the middle of this stuff. And maybe he's really not interested in Shaka at this time. And so he tells him where he is. And then, so Gloriosa hears he's there, and she comes running down from somewhere and like leaps at Roger here. And he's like, oh, get off me. Get off me. Yeah, like I keep telling you, I don't want a woman who throws her hearts all over the place. What? How did he say? I didn't need a woman. Wait, why did he sing it that way? Let me see here. Is that how he says that? Yeah, that's the raw version here says, I don't want a woman who throws herself at me. Throws herself at me. Themselves? Oh, yeah, I think that's written wrong. So he's trying to say he wants a woman who he's like probably doesn't want someone who just fawns over him. He wants a woman you want the kind that would ignore you. Then like, oh, yeah, well, maybe I'll go out with you. Is that what you want? But then I think Gloriosa's right here. Well, if Shakky did it, I bet you'd make an exception. He's like, I don't understand what you mean. He just means because he's trying to say, well, I don't like you, so you shouldn't do it. But I think that's what she means. If it was someone you liked and they did it, you wouldn't have a problem with it. I believe her on that one. So, next page. So Shaka's like disheartened here because she's like, well, oh man, I really wanted to see Rayleigh. And you can see it setting in. It's going to show in a second. And I like this part too. Before we get to that, Roger first is like, hey, where's Nuke? I want to have a drink with him. And this is fascinating too. We get to see Roger and Big Mom and these others just sitting together drinking. It's just so... I like this because this feels like would that be like Switzerland or someplace? It feels like a bunch of world leaders, so to speak, say they go to like a country that's neutral and they're all partying it up together like a banquet or something like that. It's so nice to think of these people that we know could be at each other's throats later, because like Roger, not 20 years, he dies. This is 40 years ago. I think he died 24. So this is like, if I remember right, I think this is 16 years before he's executed, right? I think that's about right. And so he, it's some point in the next, over 10 years from now, he's going to go to Big Mom's island and sneak there and steal the road poneglyph she found. Actually, we never found out where she found that, did we? But it's so neat to see these different heavy hitters just partying it up right now. And I'm sure Rox isn't happy. Of course, Rox isn't happy to see Roger here, but it's so nice. It's neat here to see him and Big Mom at least. And all right, so where's oh, that's Rayleigh there, isn't it? I was wondering why they showed that scene there, but it looks like Rayleigh's on the ship, singing to himself. But so we go back to Shaka though, and so like she's thinking about him again, as we just saw here, and then she suddenly, you can see the love sickness has took over, and she's passing out. Some other pirates here are gathering around her. They're probably like, we don't want to think about it. They're probably gonna feel her up at least. And then luckily Gloriosa is there, and she's like, "Hey, get the hell out of here! I know what's going on here. Stop it. We have to check her out right now." And then Oda gives us the little rules here. By Shaka's own decree, anyone who visited her bar was forbidden from fighting. So when rival pirates met, they heeded her rules. And then we get a nice shot here of seeing how you can tell how it looks like Rox really. I wonder why he didn't try to get Roger or anyone else on his side. He looks like he really doesn't like Roger somehow. Maybe because Roger's more idealistic. It's very interesting. But you can tell they're not friends, and they're not going to get along here. Okay, let's go to the next page. So now we finally get to the stuff with Rox and Roger. So actually, I'm going to make sure I understood this scene. I think this is supposed to be showing. Well, first you can see the Conqueror's hockey, but it looks like Loki and Haruden are training, and then they hear all this, they're fighting, and then we get this double panel here, and we see. So I'm guessing what happened here is Harald probably convinced he in a way tricked Rox to come there to eat his bar, and they take him out somewhere. He probably said like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something." So he got the invitation from the ultimatum, or I guess whatever you call it, from the Gorosei, and now he's saying, "Okay, I have to do this." He probably sees this as his golden ticket to get in there. And the thing is, too, I'm sure he didn't want to do this. I don't think Harald wants to kill anyone anymore. He really has this pacifist idea. He probably fully believes that, but he's like, this feels like a tough situation for him, almost like what we saw with Kizaru, was being ordered to kill Bonnie and the others, and he's just like, do I really have to do this? But then he's trying to do this for the good of his people. Harald's always thinking about his people and how to help them, and he really wants to be part of the world government, so he goes through this. I don't think I could if I was Harald. If I was offered this to kill Roger, especially since Rox never did anything to me, I wouldn't feel animosity for him. I'd feel annoyance. I totally agree with Harald and then him saying like, I can't join your ragtag group and be part of someone who's got a horrible reputation like you do. Especially he went in there, he snuck into the Reverie 16 years before here and killed that admiral, one of the admirals in the process. I understand that. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to join your group. I don't want nothing to do with you and what you're trying to do. Harald also, I don't think, wants to really be associated with the Celestial Dragons, but he wants to foster a good relationship and fully wipe the slate clean of his sins of his country's past, of all the raiding and pillaging they've done and killing. They bring up something here like that later, talking about how some people are talking about like, we understand your stuff, and but our people here are still afraid of your kind because of past transgressions. And so Rox and him are fighting here. We see this great clash again. And God, what the hell is that sword made of? I wonder, that Harald has, because we've seen before where giants fight other characters like that go after like the John Giant tried to fight Whitebeard at Marineford, and it's just like, I feel like this sword must be a ranked sword at this point if it can survive a hit from Rox. So they're going at it here, and you can see they've been fighting for a while. They're both bruised up. It's not really like gone anywhere yet. But then Rox is like, trying to get in his head, got a reason, like, what is this? Why would you let the government do this, trick you like this? And is so important that you kill your own friend? And he's like, they're not going to really treat you guys as equals. They're just gonna use you. And he is right on that one. This is one point too. Rocks is making a lot of sense that way. But I mean, the alternative of joining him is still something like, I was just saying that I agree with Harold not wanting to do that. So he keeps going on, like, don't you see this? This isn't the answer. If you join like this, they're just gonna try to conscript your people into the fighting for them. So it's like, where's your warrior's pride gone? And then like he's talking about like, just like, I think he's talking, the way he talks about warrior's pride, you can tell he's leaning more to like how the Giants were before. And I like how Harold counters that, like the so-called pride you're talking about. And don't pretend you understand it. You're just a ruffian who's going around breaking any rules you can to do whatever you can to win. He's like, he keeps going on here, like that pride, that warrior stuff we have was nothing more than us being no better than what you're doing now, so to speak. When we just went around and harmed people and stole everything just because we're the strongest. That's not how the world should be working. And then he's saying that and then he's trying to say like, I want to do away with that. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. I want to do away with that and wipe the slate clean again, as I said. And we get a mini flashback going back before this, where what I just said. He's like, we think you're a good man, Harold, but we've been raided by other giants in the past, and there are many people here who still live with that knowledge and that pain and that fear of your kind because of that. So Rocks is trying here now. Harold, goes back on saying, "I know the celestial dragons are a terrible group, but they have the power to help us into that circle. It's the only choice I have to help wipe the slate clean." I think he sees. So this pisses off Rocks, and he gets a really good hit here into Harold. Yeah, I keep saying the wrong names. And finally he says, "Fine, I'm never inviting you again. The invitation's off." Actually, I was thinking about this as a funny moment. Like, I was thinking they should have had a scene like Harold's like, "Oh, thank God. I've been waiting for a way to him to stop annoying me. He's been coming here for this. At this point, it's been 8 years, I think, since he first visited, and keeps bugging me to join his crew. And like I told you time and time again, I'm not going to be associated with a person like you." And Rocks is just going to come back, "Oh, don't worry about that. Come on, you got to help me." And this is the part I was kind of hinting at this earlier, where I was thinking, Rocks doesn't realize, in a way, he wants the same thing as the world government. He's just going to try and say, "Hey, why don't you bring some of your warriors to help me?" Well, like, you should wait for Harold to want to do it himself. Rocks is too, focused on his goal that he doesn't realize that his actions are what causing Harold to push him away. But of course, also you can see that Rocks is saying like, "Well, you guys are these warriors that you guys used to be the same as us. You should just be on our side and automatically not want to because that's like everyone else probably saying." Some of the other people with him are probably thinking the same thing, like, "Well, we don't want to be with the world government. Those guys are assholes, and so we're going to join with you instead. We'd rather be with you." I think Rocks is hoping that Harold will see the same thing, given that the Elbath Giants packs is, they're their own set of pirates too, going out in the world. So he thought he could probably use that kind of familiarity of their mentality, at least the Elbath's past mentality and his, would work together to have Harold ally with him against the world government. And he reiterates the same thing. I'm not gonna risk my people's lives and associate with you. And so this fight ends. It's like it's only 4 pages, 2 double panel things, and so the fight ends in a stalemate essentially. Or maybe I feel like Rocks could have won, but he's like respects Harold enough and likes him enough that he wasn't gonna try and go all out because he got that good hit in. And at this point, the narrator's going on here. The friendship between them came to an end, and then for the time being, they met no longer. Oh, for the time being. Oh, so okay, wait a minute. That was something too. I wonder if Harold's going to be at God Valley. Because this is still many years. This is only 2 years before Rocks is going to die. But Harold doesn't die until, I think it was 14 years ago? And until the day, the fateful incident. And so we go in here to Loki. This is cute too. And he's reading the papers again because he wants to hear about rocks. Wait a minute, how's he got a big paper? Wait a minute. Wasn't there a point? Okay, I was wondering about this a while back because there's a scene back in Egghead when Dorian Broggy, they've read about Luffy being cooped up, held up in Egghead, and they go there to aid him, and they read the papers. But I was thinking, how can they read the papers? So it looks like Loki has a paper able to fit his size, and of course he's not full grown, but obviously what is he probably at this point 70 to 80 feet tall, and there's a paper there. Like, who's printing paper? Where does the World Economic Journal have a printing press to do that for the Elbath? Or maybe the Elbath has their own printing press, and then they get the other papers, use a magnifying glass type thing, and do that. How are they doing that? And so Loki's like right in there. This is sometime after the fight between his father and Rocks ended, and Loki's waiting there, probably hoping to see Harold come again. I mean, Loki, keep doing that. See Rocks come again. So obviously every time Rocks has been coming, he's been trying to convince him to join. And so this is at some point, maybe it's like evening and whatnot. And Ida comes out. Oh, and she's with what's the other girl's name again? Shit, forgot her name. I thought that was Haruden, but she's like, oh, he's not coming. Why don't you just come in now? And Loki, initially just very brash, like, shut up. I don't want to hear it. And then she's like, how would you like me to get you some juice? And he's just, okay. It's kind of cute here to see that Loki's warming up to Ida as this like mother figure he didn't have. I wish that he'd be nicer to her. I don't know what's gonna happen to her. I wonder. Anyways, here we go, the last panel. So we go to West Blue, 39 years ago. The West God Valley. And so we got the mother of Shanks and Shamrock is walking around town, and so these other people are like, oh, they're so adorable. Oh, and they've got your red hair. That's right. So Garling's hair was more like, was it like a sherbet orange, a bright orange? I forget. And so they got their hair from the mother. So everyone's fawning over this woman. She must be like a popular, attractive woman of the town. And they're like checking her, saying hi to her. And, there's no weird stuff in here. But it's like, oh, your children are so beautiful. Oh, and we hope they'll be just as wise as you are. So it's like, okay, so they're complimenting. So she's not just a looker. And so other people, oh, they're so nice. Oh, can you tell me their names? And here we go, the last panel. We see Shanks and Shamrock together, the twin, obviously twins, and that's it. Holy shit. Oh, this chapter is something. So I just what happened? What would cause Harold to want to be drawn into coming to the conflict at God Valley? So the parts we know so far is that, one, the Gorosei, the Celestial Dragons are going to hold a contest there. And now we see that it was Garling that recommends the location. Two, they're going to have Devil Fruit prizes, which includes Kuma's Pawpaw Fruit and Kaido's Azure Dragon Fruit. That they and it's going to be Ginny and the plan with her and Ivanka to get the information out, so all these notorious pirates will come and overwhelm the Marines that are going to be there to guard the perimeter of God Valley while the contest is going on, so to speak. And then this obviously draws in Roger and others to as reinforcements once they find out the likes of Roger and Rocks are arriving there. And so now, and then Harold is going to be there. So is that going to mean, I wonder if it's Harold that actually ends up killing Rocks then. I wonder if they're hinting at that. Because all we knew was that, the official story was that Garb and Roger teamed up together to defeat the Rocks pirates. But the way they're drawing Harold into the story makes me think he's going to actually be the one in the end to do at least like the final blow in killing Rocks. Oh, there you go. Maybe he joins up to help, and due to him, whether he kills Rocks or they think he kills Rocks, after that, the government will say, hey, you helped us out against a terrible, terribly evil pirate force that has been threatening us for years. Now we'll let you into the world government, finally. I bet that's going to be what happens. Harold's going to participate somehow and get some of the glory, and that will be enough for the government to say, well, we also really want the Giants to be in our in the world government, just like Rocks is suggesting, and how we saw in the president too. They do want to try and get more of the giant warriors on their side to like maybe join the military and other stuff. Oh, maybe one of them's even a God's Knights. What if one of the giants became a God's Knight? That'd be fucking scary. So they'll use this as, oh yeah, because then they'll say, well, yeah, you finally got Rocks like we asked you to. And so, I mean, we've been considering your stuff, and we can see you're trying to do good things, so we'll let you join now. I bet there's going to be something like that happens. So this stuff with Shaka is funny too. I wonder how's Shaka then going to survive her lovesickness? Rayleigh's going to have to come. What's he going to, are they going to have like a Snow White moment where he comes in, gives her a little kiss on the cheek in this case, and then she's like, oh, I'm so much better. Maybe, I bet she joined, maybe she'll even join the Roger Pirates for a while, because they'll have to keep her lovesickness at bay. Huh. There's something there. And, yeah, this thing with Garling is really confusing me. I'm going to end this soon and find this out. I can't wait to figure out what this is all about. Yeah. Holy shit, we're right at the eve of God Valley. I think Oda's going to probably show us a little more. I bet he's still going to be cryptic in some way. I just can't imagine what he's not going to show. I'm thinking he'll probably show Rocks and Roger and the others receiving a message that Ginny puts out, that she broadcasts. We'll probably get that, and I bet we still won't get the full battle. From that point, I bet we'll like jump to where Harold and the others have killed someone. The Rocks is dead, and the others retreat, and we'll probably see the girl say, like, sending him a letter, like, "Oh well, we'll accept you in now," and we'll probably also see Loki be like, "What the hell? Why'd you kill him? He was a hero." He talked, because he also talked about that when we started this flashback. I believe that was the one he said something like, well, I'm gonna look it up actually. Here in 1152, he was saying, "I have no interest in a man who'd sell his soul to the world government," and these are people that killed Rocks. Yeah. So he at this some point, yeah, he definitely got into the world government some point afterward. So I bet the God Valley incident was part of how that happened. Anyways, I'm gonna leave that here for today. God, that was such a good chapter. And I kind of feel bad for Gloriosa too. I'm just thinking back, like, it's too bad her and Stussy both, they both falling over men that didn't want them. Anyways, I'm gonna stop here. Thanks for watching.